Yeah.
So we're not looking at money as just like, to me, a canvas, right? But we don't want to become so obsessed with the canvas that we're no longer looking at the thing we're trying to
Yeah.
Welcome to our Hill City podcast. We're excited that you guys have joined us today. Today I am joined by April and Ed. And how are you guys today?
Excellent.
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Yep.
Now, April and Ed are married. I want to make sure that is clear to each other.
I'm married to Jesus only.
Married to each other. I want to make sure also that's clarified from the
We are
jump.
married.
We're just married.
We're just married.
They're
Yeah.
just married. Well, you guys could be married to other people. We've had
We could.
other
Yeah.
people
Yep.
married
But we're
on,
married
but to each other.
to each other. Yes.
And the Lord.
Married to the Lord. Definitely have to be.
Because you're in youth and you work with our young kids and they're on the latest sayings
my.
and terms. I just want to know, what was the last term that you learned that's podcast friendly? I don't know what these kids are out here saying, but what was the last youth term that you learned that you just want to share with some of the olds who may be watching? And then just put them up on game.
Go ahead. I probably say I'm at home and he's like cringing.
Yeah, because she be saying, I'm like, where are you getting this? I'm really thinking that she's hanging out with the youth and hearing
I'm
this.
trying
I'm
to
like,
stay-
wait
I'm
a minute,
trying
when was
to
the
stay
last time we
relevant.
hung out with him?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
trying to stay relevant.
I'm like, oh, it's because you're listening to your IG people. So I think, there's a guy on IG that I hear all the time, and he, I'm built different. I'm built different.
Built
I'm
different. Okay.
Back in the day, built different.
Yes.
We didn't use it as the way it's used now.
Okay.
Obviously, the way it's used now, it's like, I'm different. I don't have to do it this way or the same way that my parents are saying to do it. I can do it differently, or I can drink soda in the morning. It's not going to mess me up.
Right.
Okay, sure.
I'm not going to say any because honestly, I don't even know if I'm saying them in the right
She's been
context.
using all kinds. She's been using a call.
I feel like you were just talking about bed. Yeah. That was
I
that.
said bet, but do I really, do I really know what that means?
Give me the definition.
Bet, like, for real. I guess that would be my thing. Like,
Yeah.
for real.
For real.
Back in the day, it was for real.
Yeah.
Okay, and then like on God, they say?
Yeah.
On God, like, I swear, I guess? Is
Yeah.
that what? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are on the lingo. I'm glad I'm learning. You're learning. I'm glad we're all here learning together.
We're all
Please
learning
give me some
together.
grace. No, the kids always, they're probably
I
just...
get it used on me, so
They're
I
probably
hear
just
it.
rolling their eyes and
'Cause
just laughing. But
I'm
guess
actually
what?
around
Whatever.
adults all day, so I don't
No,
hear
in youth
these.
group, they say stuff and I'm just like, cool.
Yeah, we hear it. And I'm like, okay.
It really
yep.
tells you really feel old. Because
Oh,
I've
well.
said certain lingos and it just goes over their head and I'm like, okay, well, I'm a grandma now. So
Yeah.
that's great. Great. Yep.
I
So,
just try
but
to
it's fun.
reciprocate it right back.
It's
I'm like,
fun.
oh, yeah,
They keep
just-
us lively.
That's
Yeah.
I love them. We love them.
I mean,
Yeah.
we stay lively because of the little people we have in our lives anyway, but
No, the young
it
people.
just the youth do it too like it.
We love them.
tenfold.
We love you guys.
We
you guys.
love them so much.
Yes.
So I want to ask a question that everyone has a different background with how they view money, right? And so people have kind of categorized it into different
Mhm.
ways that you can view money. So in your own words, how do you think that you view money in general?
So for me, this is actually an area that the Lord has had to rewire how I think about it.
Yeah.
Because my past is I grew up with a single mom, and so like money was really tight.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you work hard and you save, and
Yeah.
which is great, right? Like
Yeah.
wisdom. We need
Yeah.
wisdom.
Of course.
But also it was like this, like everything centered around it.
Mm.
And so it almost, the Lord began to reveal like, I depended and I felt like my identity and I made it, or we were doing good if like I had a certain amount in my bank account
Mm.
or, then I in myself. So it all came back to like, it was a me thing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't look at the Lord like as the provider.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was working, it just came back to the I.
Mm.
And he's like, no, it's me. It
Yeah.
all comes from me. So that's how the Lord has just been working on me and just like clearing out the junk
Yeah.
from past.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how I viewed money.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me a few months ago, I would have been like, just like, and he knows.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's been a struggle.
So would you consider yourself a spender, saver, security, tool, giving, investing.
Oh, can we be multiple things?
You could be best. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could be multifaceted.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I like to spend, but I also like to save.
Mm.
But I'm also a giver. I don't know. I'm in this cool season where it's like, I don't want to just like hold on to things because I feel like the American way, it's like, if you have this in your portfolio, then you've made it.
Yeah.
And I got 0. So
Yeah.
have I made it?
Well, you can't tell me nothing.
Am I as worthy as that
Right,
person type
right,
of thing?
yeah.
So yeah.
Mhm.
What about you?
Obviously, I'm multiple, but at the same time, knowing in each season that we've been through together, especially when I was pre-April, I was a spender. I'd spend my money. I never save. I have a had a savings account, and it was probably pretty close to single digits.
Mm.
I'm like, I think the most I might have had in like a savings account when I was younger, and obviously I'm talking like after teenage years, early 20s,
Like early adult.
it was never anywhere near $300.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
because, I'm young. I want to have fun. I'm going
Right.
to spend my money. I
Yeah.
had a Mustang. So,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
in
yeah, he
that
was so
young
cool.
lifestyle.
Right.
So I was a cool guy. I had the
Yeah,
cool car.
you're out
I
there.
had a job.
You're
I'm
on
gonna
it.
spend that money.
Hey, talk to him out here.
We're not gonna. I'm not save what
Yeah,
for what?
Yeah, we're young.
I'm
Future.
young. I
What are you
want to
talking
have
about?
It
no.
will take care of itself.
Yeah.
It'll take care of ourselves exactly.
Until it doesn't.
Until you don't. So, but yeah, then we got to the point to where we're spending the money, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like we're trying to be wise with our money.
Yeah.
And it's a gradual thing. If you
Yeah.
get it early,
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Right.
You can be set for a longer period of time in your life.
Yeah.
But just remember, God can change every single part
Oh, yeah.
of that,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
and He has, and
Yeah.
he will.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't
Like
cling so tightly to it.
No,
Yeah.
it is as I don't want to say money is bad, because money can be good to the point of what it can provide for other people, not just for yourself. Yes, money can
Like in
provide
generosity.
security. Just it you provide with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
But
we have to live.
we have
Yeah.
to live. We have to be
Yeah.
able to survive. We have no money, then God can provide. He does that with many people.
Yeah.
And he's done that with us many a times. But yes, to be multiple, to be able to, I guess, spend when you need to or want to or are able to, and save when you need to or can.
Yeah.
And be open to give. Because there's a
Yeah.
many a times when we're like, ooh, it's kind of tight. And then God decides to tell you, I'm going to drop this one on you guys. I need you to give $1,000 to that person over there.
Mhm.
You know what's in my bank account, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
But by faith.
So that doesn't really work, right, God? I need you to give that. Okay, yep, we're going to do that. And we're just going to be happy with it. And by faith, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it has to be a by faith thing, because if you don't do it by faith, to me, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, you can give all you want. And obviously, yes, when the word says don't boast about it, don't be openly saying, I gave to this charity and I gave to that person over there. And God's like, so we can pull this right back. Go ahead and give it. I'm gonna pull that reward I was gonna give you back. And yeah, we're not looking for anything in return for it. Never been in it for the return.
Yeah.
It's always been, I'm giving because you told me to.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because you told me to.
Yeah.
Not hoping that, or you do hope, have that little glimmer of hope in the back of your mind, but it's like, you know what, God, you provided for me. Now let me be able to provide for others.
Mhm. I
But
think giving too is like from a place of gratitude. Like, why wouldn't I give back to
Yeah.
you, Lord, what you've given me?
Yeah.
We would just celebrated, was that Passover?
Mhm.
Yeah. And the Lord, which was cool. I had asked the Lord, like, what does that look like for our family?
Mm.
And he's like, I just want you as a family to sit around the dinner table and just with gratitude, just share like the things that I've done for you.
Yeah.
So it really is like a heart posture of like, Lord, this doesn't really belong to me. Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you that I'm able to give. Thank you
Mhm.
that you've provided.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think for myself, money has always looked more like a tool to me.
mm.
Like it just looks like a hammer or a saw or something else, anything else. Like
Yeah.
it helps bring another thing along, right? It's a thing that
Okay.
you use to execute to bring something else there.
Mhm.
So when I was young, when I was mad young, like I don't know, like my first job young, like I worked at a retail store and I was like, okay, well, cool. I can just like make money and buy clothes. Like, it was kind of, that was cool to me. Like,
Exactly. Yep.
you know what I mean? But then like very quickly I was like, oh, like I am making minimum wage at a time where like minimum wage
was
Whoa.
slim pickings. Yeah.
Not minimum wage like it is now.
it was
so
just
criminal.
Still criminal, but
We thought we was
it was,
like,
no man, like yeah,
I
no,
was like,
it
ooh,
was-
that
you know,
10 cents
yeah.
just making a difference. Yeah.
yeah, you think it's so much better than allowance money, but it is very, you know, at that time it was very, they were kissing cousins. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would learn to like just save
Mm.
and then I would have an amount of money and then I'd be like, okay, cool. I can now afford to use this amount of money to do this thing.
Mm.
And I wouldn't blow it all, but I'd be like, okay, now I
Yeah.
have the means to be able to invest in myself in different avenues.
Wow.
Or I have the ability to like, you know, when I was getting into DJing, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I have saved my money and I can just go out and I can buy cash, the things I need to be able to do
Mhm.
the things I want to do and then continue to make sure I'm saving. And whenever
Wow.
the next deal hits me, I'm like, okay, I want to do this thing. I have the ability to invest myself to
Mhm.
take
Yeah.
the next steps in that. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. Like I can do those things and I can reinvest in those things
Mhm.
just because for me, and I guess what I was all modeled, it just became natural being like, you should hold your money to be able to do a
Yeah.
thing.
Sacrifices in the moment. So that you can,
Yeah. Because
Mhm.
also, I mean, I was a nerd. I didn't really, I'm not out there doing it, living up like that. I was just like,
So it was a little bit easier to keep
it was a little bit easier. The
It's easier to
temptations
save
were
all
very
that
low.
money.
I'm not tempted by a lot of these things. Oh, we're going out and party. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, you do that.
Mm. See you later.
You do
I'll
that.
save
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm saving my coins.
Oh, yeah, a lot of my activities I was involved in, especially when I was young, were like cost very little money to like break dance with your friends. It's like that's a
free.
very that's a very
Get the
free
local
They're
activity.
box in the-
basically kicking kids out
garage
of
and keep going.
areas. No skateboarding, no dancing.
Yeah, that's oh man, that's another testament that we can talk about. The Lord saved me in a multitude of ways, but yeah, when it came to finances, that was kind of how it was, and it was interesting because when Karen and I got together, for
Mhm.
her, she like, especially when we first were married, like money was security. So like we would
Yeah.
both
Mhm.
be on the same page for
Yeah.
like a long time of just being like, money's going up, paper's going up, paper's going up, paper's going up. And like we'd have like a lot of money. I'd be
Yeah.
all right, cool. I'm ready to invest. I'd sit down like
Yeah.
Shark Tank. Hello, Shark. Hello, Sharks. I'm ready to make my investment. She's like, this doesn't make sense. Why would you? Why would money go out? Money just comes up.
Just yeah, we're not. What are you
Paper
talking
stacks up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's it.
Continuous. Yeah.
And it was a really cool deal of surrender for both of us to be able to understand different avenues of how money can kind of just, and the natural kind of work and how we kind of see money and understanding of like,
Yeah.
okay, like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day and I was just saying like, hey, like, you know, because he was talking about his spouse who's also a saver. And I was like, hey,
Mm.
I have to like, I try to now, especially like make plans of like, hey, if I'm investing, this is how the investment return is going to happen. Like,
Wow.
so you think security is going out, right?
Yeah.
But also this is it's not just going out just to go out, just to be like, hey man, to the moon.
Yeah.
Like I have a plan. Like I want to be able to do things with our own finances, to be able to grow things, to be
Yeah.
able to
Mhm.
provide in different areas.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, finding out, especially if you're with someone else, finding out what their language is and figuring out how to
Mhm.
communicate with them in that way
Yeah.
brings a lot of peace in a household that could otherwise be quite tumultuous, because you're like, you know, some people
Can
like money is love. And so they want to spend it like they got it
Mhm.
because I want to show love
Yeah.
to this person. I want to show love to that person. I don't want to give. And I think that there is, all those things are good, but I feel like it becoming multifaceted and understanding of like, oh, we do want to be generous. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
There has
it's-
to be a balance.
There's a balance to
Yep.
it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. We do want to make sure we're saving, but there's a balance to it because my
Yeah.
security is in God.
Exactly.
And then,
yes.
okay, oh, we want to invest in it, but also he provides.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're not looking at money as just like, to me, a canvas, right? But we don't want to become so obsessed with the canvas that we're no longer looking at the thing we're trying to paint.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
can't be an
You know what I
idol.
mean?
It
Yeah,
can't be
it
an
doesn't become an idol,
Yeah.
right? So we're using it to paint on it, but the more important things, more than the canvas itself,
Yeah.
are the paints and the figure that you're gazing upon.
Mhm.
And I feel like, we're looking at Christ. We're utilizing our paints on the canvas of money to be able to do things. Because if you don't have any money,
It sucks. Oh,
your resources are small. You
Yeah.
can't do, the smaller your resources are, it changes what you can actually do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the Lord can make things and miraculous happens.
oh, for sure.
It does.
But when we're walking on wisdom, we
Mhm.
understand.
Yeah.
that,
You ain't got it. You can do little.
I can't give what I don't have.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't move on things that just that haven't been bestowed upon me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
So what do you think glorifying God with your finances looks like?
Mm.
I think it just kind of looks like just listening and obeying what he's asked. There's been many a times that I've had not that much money, and he's asked of, regardless of it being a large amount or small amount, but he's asked me to do this. I'm like, okay, I'm not looking for anything out of this, Lord, but because of what you asked, then yeah, I'm going to do that. And
Mhm.
it even so, it gives you the good example of the homeless person or the beggar on the side of the street. And you got $10 in your wallet and you're not going to do anything with it, but it's like, oh, just hold on to that $10. I'm like, oh, I could go buy something with this, or I can go to 7-Eleven, get this. I'm gonna just hold on to it. And you're walking by that person and they don't say anything to you. They don't have a sign. God said, give me your $10 a month. Okay. And it's just like this, it's the simplest things. I guess sometimes it seems big when we consider possibly what he's asking us to give.
Yeah.
But having the faith to do it.
Yeah.
2, having the courage to do it. And 3, just blindly doing it and not really holding on to, well, you gotta give me something back, God, or I'm giving you this.
Yeah, you just
give me
freely
something
give.
back.
Yeah.
I'm freely given.
Yeah.
Freely ye have received. So I received it.
Right.
Now I give it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not yours, really.
It's
anyway.
not ours in the first place.
Yeah.
But I mean, he provides for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're giving back to who were provided for us in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, for glorifying is like coming to the realization, like we said, that he is the source.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I can't cling so tightly. And for me, it was like Karen, like the security. Like I can't, that can all be gone
Yeah.
in an instant.
Yeah.
And then what am I? Like, was my identity and my everything in that, or was
Yeah.
it in the Lord?
Yeah.
Like there's so many scriptures and through the Old Testament and the New Testament, like the Israelites, he provided manna
Yeah.
during the day, right?
Yeah.
Please help
Yeah.
me.
No.
Like he provided everything
Yeah.
for them. Like, so we can't cling so tightly. And it goes back to like that out of a place of gratitude. Like,
Yeah.
thank you, Lord, that you've given this to us,
Right.
but also like, and even with giving, like this is going back to the kingdom.
Yeah.
Like we can't be naive. Like God can do anything, right?
Yeah.
But also he calls us to build the kingdom through finances,
Yeah.
through time, and through sacrifices and stuff like that. So it's like I was reading in Acts where it was like the early church, like if we want to be like the early church and what Jesus has
Yeah.
wanted us to do, like they gave all.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like,
Yeah.
hey, Andy,
Yeah.
yeah, you need $2,000. Here you
Sure.
go, bud.
Here it is.
Like,
Yeah.
this is for the kingdom.
Tap it up.
Like that,
Mhm.
but they just willingly, because they saw the mission and what the Lord would do.
Yeah.
And so I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to cling so tightly. I want to further the kingdom, however, and
Yeah.
and for us, it's like through the finances,
Yeah.
and through the trust too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is power in surrender, right?
Mhm.
Of that
Mm.
deal of just being like that idea where you're saying it's just like, hey, these finances, they feel like they're mine. And the
Yeah.
check that was written on it was directed to me. The check was
So it's
directed
really
to
mine,
me.
right?
It really does make it feel like this is money that I earned, but just
Yeah.
knowing like, okay, no, this is an increase that came from someone else, but I know the source of it came from God.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was given to me,
Yeah.
but I am now the steward of this
Yes.
deal. And I
Mhm.
feel like becoming a steward is like that mindset of just being like, okay, like this is coming in, this feels like it's here. And I just want to manage what you're doing well and not bury it.
Yes.
I want to be the servant who's able to multiply
Mhm.
the
Absolutely.
thing that you're giving me.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like, I think sometimes there's a poverty mentality of just people just being like, hey, like, you should be poor. You should just have nothing.
Oh.
And I'm just like, it's like,
Like
okay.
as a follower
Yeah,
of Jesus.
it's like easy.
no, just-
Okay, let's look at scriptures because we can see a lot of believers that were avid followers of Jesus. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Solomon banked up. My man had
Mhm.
a lot of money. Not that everything with Solomon was great, but I'm just saying like we can look and see like
yeah.
there is sometimes an honor that God will do to
Mhm.
grow so you can continue to do the things
Yeah.
Yeah.
or so that your
Yeah.
children can do the
Mhm.
things that
Yep.
God is calling you to do and
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
making space for that legacy and making
Mhm.
space for beyond myself. Right.
Mhm.
And I think that that's where I want to continue to allow my finances to go and grow is where I'm in a space where I'm not just thinking about like, okay, what do this house need for the day?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking beyond and the
Yeah.
way that God sees money. I'm like, oh, okay. Not only what does this house need, what does the house of God need?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, what do my grandchildren need?
Yeah.
I've been crazy blessed that my parents have kind of stepped in that realm where they're no longer thinking about themselves
Yeah.
and they're no
Mhm.
longer thinking about us as children.
yeah.
They're thinking about their grandchildren.
legacy.
They're like,
Yeah.
hey, how do we make
Mhm.
this a legacy thing when we're thinking about money
Yeah.
and when we're
Mhm.
managing our money?
yeah.
And I think there's a way that God kind of honors that where you're just like, hey,
Yeah.
like I want to think about the church and I want to
Mhm.
think about the legacy of the church and your body and your people and the
Yeah.
acts in the original church. They have that. They're like, oh, I'm not just thinking about
Yes.
this household in general, but it's like, oh, your house needs something.
Mhm.
I have something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes
Absolutely.
back to like the love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Powerful. Yeah.
hmm
Do you think that with the idea of like getting the idea of finances and money, do you think there's like a release of like power in that? Like, do you think like getting your finances like in check releases something in God's power? Because you're talking, it sparked this idea as you're talking about people in the early church, and we all love to look at the early church like they were all doing this thing and they were
Yeah.
doing that thing. The Lord was moving and it was
Yeah.
blessings and it
Yeah.
was here and there's
Mhm.
shadows and it was like, okay, that's awesome. I'm like, okay, but we want the power. Everyone wants that power
Exactly.
to be able
Mhm.
to move. But like, are we practically doing the things? Like, do you think that like finding a release in finances could release something that is a power for others? I guess is the question. It could be yes or no. There's no real answer. There's no real answer.
Yes.
It's-
Yes, I think it can be. I know that I felt power in the release of not holding on to money so tightly.
Mm,
Like I think we've been in that area of our life to where we've held on to the money for so long, and then you get to the point to where oh, I really need this. Nope, gonna hold on to it. Oh God, you want me to okay, so that means I have to let go, right? Yes, let go. Okay, I'm gonna let go of this. And I let it go. Wow, that it really wasn't that bad.
yeah.
Okay, wow. I feel better about it. Okay, so, and then once you do, and it's a release, and then it feels like it's more of a release once it continues.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's still difficult because I'm holding on to it tight for a reason, right? Hopefully,
Right.
But when the release, it really feels like it just you're wound up so tight. You're just holding on to it so tight, and when you release it and you give it to God and you pray that just continues so that you can continue to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You do it. And it's just, okay, we did it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, eventually he's going to ask again, but
yeah.
it's just to, in that moment, yes,
Yeah.
release it. Release.
Yeah.
Feel the momentum of the release, and it can continue.
Yeah.
So yes, obviously yes.
Yeah.
I felt
a yes for
the
me.
power. It's a yes for me, dog. I felt the power in the release,
Yeah.
and hope to have it.
Yeah.
Enough times more, many more times.
Yeah.
To aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In aid.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, when we were talking about this, the Lord has challenged me in this area because, like you said, poverty mindset. Actually, the Lord was like, this is a generational thing that the Lord began to show me, like, you think that way because your grandfather and your mother. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Because here's the thing, like, I would say I trust the Lord, but did I really trust the Lord? Things would come.
Yep.
And I'd be like my mind knows.
Yes.
My mind knows.
Yes.
And like, you've shown yourself over and over that you will provide, but like,
Right.
why don't I believe that?
Yes.
And that's when he began to show me, like, this is why.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, he's challenged
Yes.
me now in those circumstances. And so I feel like if we want to be like the Acts Church, it's like I was at the grocery store. It's always at the grocery store.
Of course.
I swear, always. But like we've said, like the Lord, like where you go, like
right.
your influence.
Yeah.
Always at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And money was tight. And the Lord's like, okay, I want you to pay for those ladies' groceries. And I was just like, okay. All right, Lord, I'm believing and I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
But like, what if I didn't do that?
Yeah.
It's like, we say we love our neighbor and like we want the Acts Church, but like they were freely giving.
Yeah.
And I want to be that. I want to
Yeah.
freely give. I don't, like we said, I don't want to like hold on to it because
Yeah.
I do believe that the Lord will take care of me. It
Yeah.
might not be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning too.
Right.
It ain't comfortable
Right.
sometimes, but like he's always provided.
Yeah.
And it's stripping away, like, what do I really need?
Yeah.
What do I really need?
Yeah.
And the refining, that's what it's just, ooh, that refinement.
I love those revelations where like you think, I've been confessing this thing and I think I'm doing this thing. And the Lord's like,
Maybe not. Maybe
You're getting there. You're getting there.
You desire to do this. No,
Yeah.
we're now chapter 2. Let's look at it.
He's so kind. That's why I'm like, oh, Lord, wow, you're so kind and patient.
Yes.
Ooh.
I feel like just hearing you guys, I'm just hearing like there is just a release of capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're holding on, like you can only hold on to so many things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can only really focus in on so many things. And if
Mhm.
money has your focus, like,
Yeah.
and that's focus that you're not putting on God.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't be focused in two directions, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that there is that releases power, right?
Mhm.
Because we're able to shift more of our focus
Mhm.
from money to
Yeah.
the Lord. And we're able to kind of move that meter a little bit.
Yeah, it's
A little
not
bit
our
more closer to
everything.
him. Yeah.
And here's the thing, it's hard because like in our society, like money equals influence
Yeah.
and prestige and all
Yeah.
these things, but that's like not the currency of heaven.
Yeah.
No.
You know?
Right.
And so it's hard to like live in this world and have all these influences, you know,
Yeah.
Instagram or like friends or whatever,
Yeah.
speaking those things to you,
Yeah.
whether they do or not, you know, like, oh, here's my brand new blah, 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 you know? So it's hard sometimes to not think that way.
You have to take account of it's not coming with us anyway.
Right.
Regardless of how much money that we have, it's not coming with us.
Right.
True.
Literally nothing that we have is gonna come with us. When hopefully we go before we get buried in the ground. But if we get buried in the ground first, then guess what? There's nothing else going with you.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the stuff that we've piled up in our history of our life and all the money that we might make can't take it with us to heaven.
No. Yeah.
And there's no account of, well, God's going to tell you, well, you know, you made, $70 million in your lifetime and that got you not this.
Yeah.
So,
But did you give?
But
Did you love?
Did we
you
love?
know?
Did we give? Did we do anything with our time and our money to where it
Further the
benefited my kingdom?
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
you can tell him yes,
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously he's going to know.
Yeah.
But when he asks, it's like, what did you do for my kingdom? Or did you do this? Or did you do that? And you can give him the yes.
Yeah.
Then
Mm-hmm.
you freely walk in and there's no weight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a weight when I think that hopefully some of the people that have the money that maybe are not in the church, are not Christ living, that they feel a weight. Like you continue to get the money and you have the fame and you have the everything. There's going to be a weight. There's a weight on you. So hopefully there's going to be somebody that, gives you that wake up calls like, that's not coming with you.
Yeah.
When you go, that's not coming with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we do something with it to better others, to better the kingdom with it? So there is that release.
Yeah.
Get that release.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that money definitely can, when not looked at correctly, become a rainbow that you're chasing with no end, right?
Yeah.
Because you'll hear billionaire. I can't fathom a billion things. These numbers, we toss them around because we like hear about billionaires. I can't imagine what a billion things even looks like. There have been people who like done like different studies to like kind of get you to quantify like if you were given like $1,000 a day and doubled it, like how long you would have to live to hit $1 billion, or like you're not living long enough. Like even at these like it's like these astronomical deals where it's like, even if we're giving you $1 billion, it's just so much money.
Yeah.
But I digress. The only reason why I say that is just to think like even people who have achieved that deal are still in the process of earning more money.
Yeah.
Like they're still out there doing more, earning more. And I don't know if they become a farce that the world's trying to sell us, right? That you can, when you earn this amount of money, then you're going to find satisfaction in this thing. And it's like, no, if we're not looking at Christ alone.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to, I say this all the time, but if we're not surrounding ourselves with believers, and if we're not grounding ourselves with people who are saying that like these things aren't the solution, we're going to fall in the trap balls of being like, oh yeah, I do need to be on the hustle culture, which is like very prominent, right?
Yeah.
The thing people are just like, I have to go get it. But if you're going getting it, then that means that you're getting it. God's not providing it. You're not looking at him as a source. And I think there is obviously like a healthy way to partner with God.
Yeah, we're not saying don't work hard. Yeah,
but it's also there's a rest in His work, right? And there is, and I think we need to understand that of like, hey, like the sweat of the brow is a part of the curse. Like we need to make sure,
tell you,
and it's not an excuse for us to disengage, but it's a way for us to find a new level of engagement of how do I do this in a way where I know that the labor is partnered with Christ in His finished work.
Yeah,
and then when I'm doing it, it doesn't twirl from the sweat of my brow.
Yeah.
But it comes from now a new joy and excitement that we're doing from Christ. And it's an energizing thing and it's a life-giving thing. And I'm doing these things. And it's like, I'm not looking for the satisfaction of money. That's just a byproduct. It no longer becomes about that thing. It's like, oh yeah, money's coming in. Cool. Paper's going up. Yeah. Whatever.
I want to be that.
But I want to focus on the main thing.
Get there. Yeah.
Can we get back to the main thing? Can we focus in on like what God is doing? But
that's so good.
I love having these conversations with you guys. I think they are insightful.
Absolutely.
And you guys just have a lot of wisdom just to give and bestow, that you guys work with our youth. I'm excited that you guys
we love them.
Love
them.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
love
if we
young
can
kids.
speak life into them, that's what it's about. Pointing them back to the Lord.
Getting them on the right path and trying to show them the exact same things that we kind of went through. And not saying you have to do it the same way that we did, because nobody's going to do the same thing exactly the same. But, kind of show you, hey, this is the way we did it. We came out all right. Yeah. Try it that way too.
Did we? We did.
We came out all right. I know.
We're in process. Right. We're always in process with the Lord.
We were all in a work in process.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into our Hill City podcast. We have so much fun having these conversations together and being able to share them with you. If you guys have any concerns or questions that you want to reach out to us, you can either leave a comment below or you can send us an email at info@hillcitynow.com. We would love to partner you in whatever way we can to continue to help you pursue the life that God is calling you to. We want to remind you guys to be a city on the hill and never hide. We love you. Peace.